It's wild to think that the only thing holding me back was the very thing that was making me happy on a short-term basis: drinking. In society, quitting is something that losers and failures do. No one wants to be a quitter. To say that you quit something usually means that you didn't amount to something, or you couldn't do something because you just couldn't achieve a goal. So this made me wonder, why put that same mindset into quitting something that's actually destroying my life? Which got me thinking, do I actually want to quit, or do I just want to stop drinking? You're going to see a vocabulary change in this video today, where I'm not saying I quit drinking, but you're going to hear me saying that I stopped drinking. This little vocabulary change was the ultimate reason how I was able to quit, and how going to a bar or hanging out with friends that do drink don't affect me anymore. To stop drinking is seriously like taboo. Think about it. Robert Downey Jr. stopped using cocaine. Eminem stopped using prescription drugs. Charlie Sheen laid off the tiger blood, and yet they were brave, they were graduated. Yet with drinking, it's a polar opposite thing. So if you're at a restaurant or a bar with your friends and you say, hey, I quit drinking, people start asking, hey, are you okay? But why is this? 2 words: marketing propaganda. The propaganda to keep drinking is seriously insane. And it isn't only the vocabulary used to market alcohol, but it's also medical advice. I personally find AUD and other alcohol-related medical terms just excuses and ways to justify alcoholism. For example, drink a glass of wine every day is good for you. There is no positive to drinking 1 cup or 10 cups of any type of ethanol or poison. And again, this just comes down to more propaganda and marketing. But yet they push it so hard. You go to your local store that has huge marketing for beer, which defends and promotes a huge drug that hurts us physically, mentally, and emotionally. Even the government approves of this. How do I know? It's taxed. The word drinking, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? It's drinking alcohol. They literally took a word and reformed it into part of their marketing that everybody uses globally. I'm out here in Thailand. They say drinking. How are we alcoholics by genetics? It comes down to just being a choice, being an easy one for some people or being a hard choice like it was for me. But to give you an olive branch, I do feel if you live in a house or an environment where it is considered normal to drink alcohol and smoke, this might wear off on you to where you get older, you start smoking, you start drinking. But again, I don't feel like that's a genetic thing. That's just who you are around. When I grew up, I turned 21. My family took me to a bar for the first time when we were out in Seattle area, and I got my first beer. It was normal. Then I joined the military. Y'all know how we drink. Then I got to university. Oh, it got worse. And the whole thing was, mentally, this was okay. But it came to a point where it was out of hand, where I was drinking after the party at home by myself, or I was drinking 12, 15 beers and trying to find my car key so I can go to the store and buy more beer. Or I got to a point where I medically justified my own alcoholism by saying I was a functional alcoholic, which I feel is one of the biggest excuses, personally, as I lived through it, that keeps you drinking. And for me, that was something I was proud of until now. When people go through testing, they go through AA, they go through medical processes, being with like counselors and whatnot, and they quit drinking for 12 to 36 months, and their brains are back to where they should be as a human person. This isn't genetics. This is your body adapting to something you're doing. And again, if you grow up in an environment where it's considered a normal thing, you're gonna do it. And when I think about growing up, a lot of my friends, their parents didn't drink. Their families didn't drink. And all of those friends that I have, they still didn't drink. Me growing up in a house where it was normal to have a couple beers after you got off work, my father, that I started to see it as that's just what you do. I didn't realize that was going to open a door to a bad habit that was going to take me 30 years to figure out. At the end of the day, I just feel like it's all propaganda. It's all part of the game to keep us drinking. It's a billion-dollar company. Why wouldn't they want you to? So I believe for me, stopping was just mentally figuring out how to stop and just doing it. It wasn't genetics. If we were alcoholics by genetics, there would be no cure, right? Again, not to offend anybody, but from all the research I've done and how I grew up in a family that were alcoholics, I should still be drinking to this day, and there should be no hope for me, except paying a lot of money for medicine and doctors. So when I did quit, I had to do it alone. As you guys have seen my videos, I travel a lot. So it's really hard for me to kind of settle down in a house. And living in countries where drinking is a heavy part of the culture, it makes it even harder. So the solutions that other people have, like going to AA meetings and different support groups, I didn't have this stuff. The way I feel about these groups, either way, AA meetings and similar, I just felt like they weren't any value to me. I needed to fix what was actually inside of my head. I didn't need to be told that I was strong, that I was brave, that I'm going the right way, or counting days that I didn't drink. To me, that stuff made no sense. I always felt like these meeting groups, they were like support groups, but they never really put inside the head, my head at least, why I needed to quit. What was really being sacrificed? What was actually being gained from giving this bad thing up? I just felt I didn't need to be reminded what I was getting rid of, and I felt once I changed my mindset that I am stopping drinking, I am going to stop putting gas in my body, I'm going to stop killing myself, and I'm going to gain a million new things to sacrifice one. AA meetings, I know have helped a lot of people, and it's saved countless lives, and much gratitude to those people that help, that can. This is just something for me to where I didn't need that support. I just needed to fix what was up here. I needed to get out of my head what I was stopping, not what I was quitting, if that makes sense. How did I stop drinking? It's wild we can give up so much of our lives for one thing, drinking. Yet it's so hard to give up one thing, drinking, for hundreds of amazing things in life. In some of the most effective ways how I started to quit and really get into my head that there was a problem, I was going back to my old videos, retitling them, redoing some thumbnails and whatnot on them. And I started realizing a pattern. I was sounding bad, looking very rugged. I was slurring. I looked confused. My hair was all over the place. My skin looked bad. I was a complete mess. In old breakups with good people that really, it was my fault. It was my stupidity that really broke those things apart. And I lost good people in my life because of that. And then also, I started realizing a bunch of this other stuff that's happened to me in the past. Blackouts, losing stuff, losing phones, losing money, lost a job or 3. I lost 2 of my favorite cars when I was at university. I used to have an Integra Type R, and I had a GS Lexus, and I made a lot of excuses for things just not happening the way I wanted it to. And money, I wasted a lot of it. I know a lot of you guys watch my videos because of Vietnam and whatnot. Let's do the math with consideration of Vietnam. So a beer in Vietnam, you can get a cheap one for like 10,000 Vietnamese dong, which is about 42 cents. I could drink between 12 to 14 beers. So 14 beers at 42 cents came out to $5.88 a day that I spent. Every week I spent $41.16, and then per month it was $164.64. And if we go yearly, we're at $1,975 and a hot 68 cents. Let's say I lived in Vietnam the entire time of my drinking lifetime. I would have spent right at about $60,000. And that's not including all the food, all the taxis, anything associated with the times that I was drinking. I'm from America. In America, beers can run between $2 to $4 a beer. If you get to a bar, they get it more expensive. So 42 cents a beer times 4 is about $4, right? $2. That comes out to $250,000 I spent on alcohol over my lifetime. That's a Lamborghini, man. But anyways, back to the subject. What I did to quit was mentally, and it wasn't really that hard. The first thing is I started putting alcohol where it belonged. When I think about drinking, I always think about the fun that's gonna happen when I drink. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a time killer. It wasn't an icebreaker. It didn't make me dance better, trust me, it didn't. It didn't make me sing karaoke better in Vietnam. It really didn't. So once I put that in my head and I changed my vocabulary from quit to stopping drinking, the next step, I just quit drinking. I literally woke up one day, I said, this is it, and I stopped. And this was the moment where I finally just took control and I stayed focused on it. And whenever I want to drink, I just thought about what it wasn't. It wasn't fun. I'm just going to sit here and drink and do nothing. I'm not going to get any work done because I become lazy. I'm not going to make any new friends if I get drunk and go out and hang out with a bunch of people because they're going to think I'm a moron. And this is a weird part. Since I've changed the mentality of me, when I see people drink, I kind of feel bad for them. I think to myself, like, why are you putting that in your body, my dude? You know, you just wasted $40. You know you're going to wake up with a headache and probably miss work. And I started realizing who friends were in my life. When you stop drinking and you realize they keep drinking and you hang out with them and they're just like, hey, what's up, dude? You start realizing, like, wow, did I really act like that? So the final part today, 7 weeks no drinking. Week 1 was kind of a weird one. I just got more motivated, but at the same time, I was starving all the time. Because alcohol has a lot of sugar, it's a carbohydrate, you're kind of putting empty carbs in your body. And on top of that, when you drink a lot, well, when I drink a lot, I was eating a lot of junk food. My body was starting to sleep better. I guess that REM thing or whatever they call it started kicking in. I was waking up feeling very refreshed. I don't think I felt as good as I did that second week of waking up than I have in a long time. And another one was the hunger. It was getting worse. So what I ended up doing was going to the local market and I just started buying a ton of vegetables. In that second week, I was eating like every 20 or 30 minutes, but it was like zucchinis, it was like cucumbers, it was tomatoes, it was onions, it was garlic. Whatever it was pretty much just a vegetable. Week 3 was interesting, and this goes back to food, which is weird to me because I usually don't eat a lot, but I started eating even more to the point where I was going to the street market every like 3 or 4 hours to get more vegetables, and the lady there was just like, who's eating all this? And I also started feeling very bored. I didn't know what to do with a lot of my time. Like, I was going to bed at 10, I was waking up at like 7 or 8, but I didn't know what to do. Like, when I get bored, I used to just go get a beer. I wasn't doing that anymore. So definitely by week 3, the boredom of not drinking started to kick in. Week 4, day 30, whatever we want to call this is the big one. I started getting focused. I started waking up and just getting to work. I started getting this like Andrew Tate mentality of like everything you do is work. Even when you sleep is work. So I was working on more content. I was doing a lot more writing. I was getting old projects completed. Everything was just starting to get done. And the eating problem, still there. Week 5, no more food. So week 5 was actually a great one. The eating started going down a lot more. I think my body started balancing out the sugars. I started waking up and eating at like 11 a.m. instead of like at 7 a.m. And also my sleep is getting a lot better. So I started going to bed at like 11, waking up at like 6. So I was getting, I guess, less sleep, but I was feeling so much better. I don't get angry at some of the simple things, which makes me wonder if I can handle Vietnam again. Maybe not. Week 6 was all about the focus. I started really focusing. I wasn't staring at the wall. I wasn't watching YouTube videos all day. I was actually trying to get stuff done. And week 7 right now, my focus is way cool. My eating is way better. I drink a lot more water. I feel overall better. My health is better. My sleeping is better. My skin looks better minus these bug bites I got last night. I don't know what the future is going to hold. If it's going to be better as it is getting better from these last few weeks, I'm excited. Till then, guys, I will see you again.